no retreat but in submission and slavery. Our chains are forged. Their clanking may be heard on the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable, and let it come. I repeat it, sir, let it come. It is in vain to extenuate the matter. Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war is actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear, or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty, or give me death.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Sons and Daughters of Liberty. Today's episode is going to be the rising storm. There's a storm at our door, and it is growing in strength. With each day that passes, we are seeing things start to unravel right before our eyes. We're watching corrupt politicians run this country, spreading divisions, separating people, not doing the job that we've elected them for. We have rogue states that want to sponsor sanctuary cities, put illegal immigrants, give them access to money and situations where they can get better treatment than our homeless vets on the street. We're watching even our community, truther community on YouTube turn on itself. You know, people are starting to get scared of things that they can post. It's just becoming a little bit uncalled for right now. I'm not going to censor my stuff. And I'm not going to stand idly by and watch good channels go down or stand in fear. There's too much chaos going on. You know, we're getting caught up between things that are trending and non-trending. Can't get videos to break out where they need to be on stories. I'm seeing a lot more local stories now that I'm actually starting to pay attention more to local stuff. And I got a few people keeping an eye out for me. You know, it's not even getting addressed on mainstream media or on our Twitter accounts. You know, it seems that no matter what we try and do, we're up against a brick wall. Which is okay. I don't mind being up against the wall. It makes me think harder. It makes me come up with new ways of doing things. But we do got to find a way to change this ebb and flow that we've got going on. We can't afford to let this division to keep going. We can't afford to keep allowing these corrupt politicians to go in there and not do their job because they're not representing we the people for the people. That's just the bottom line. We need to take the focus back, start finding new candidates to put into office, candidates going to uphold our Constitution, uphold our rights and liberties and freedoms. That when we know they take the seat in office, that they're going to bring back true Americanism and bring back the Constitution into the Congress. and start holding other congressmen accountable for ethics violations. You know, we've weathered this storm for a very long time. It's not new. It just has come to a head. I mean, we got to take back and look at the world around us right now. We have Venezuela that's crushed. You know, complete anarchy and chaos. We've seen how violent protests can be in other countries as well as in Germany during the G20. You know, then we have in our own country a bunch of rogue states that think our Supreme Court, that what our Supreme Court says when it upholds a constitutional law, that they're above reproach from that law. You know, then we got 5 states that went bankrupt, or on the verge of bankruptcy. I really hope that's not going to be the trend, but the reality of things probably is going to be a trend because this country is so far in debt it's not funny. But yet our congressmen want to keep wrapped up in having council after special committee after special committee, not doing their jobs. You know, we can make the change on that one. Some of their election cycles will be up this year. The next year will be a huge election cycle for Congress. It's time to remove them and keep them out of office. We've seen a lot of positive things happen that's come from this rising storm. I see more people this year celebrate the 4th of July, more patriotism. And it made me feel good again. It made me feel good to be an American. You know, we've always celebrated the 4th of July, but it wasn't like it used to be. It hasn't been like that for many years. Well, at least 8 that we can pretty much both save for was pretty much the downfall of everything. I know some may ask why you're thinking there's a rising storm. We still haven't healed the wounds from all the division of this past election. In fact, there's still people arguing about who's right or wrong. You know, the media keeps pushing fake narratives, and we get caught up in it, and we start missing some of the local, real news that's going on. Then when somebody reports it, you know, hey, your feeds are so full from what is trending, you're missing it. You know, not much we can do on that one, other than make people aware. You know, we each have choices, decisions to make, how we go about things, how we do things, how we prepare, and how we become aware of things. You know, just like, I don't know how many people, probably quite a few actually, that in New York they labeled Antifa as domestic terrorists. I'm all for that because their actions spoke louder than words. But the drawback to that is when we start calling such groups as that, the laws are put in place, and they'll use that as an example to quiet peaceful protesters. On that one, I've seen it happen in the past. I know how laws work. They'll put something that might be that important into the law that they'll later go back and use and recite to shut down peaceful people, law-abiding citizens. Illinois is on the verge of bankruptcy, how long before some of these other sanctuary cities start and end up on the verge? When they get all that funding cut from them, which needs to happen. Truthfully, what else needs to happen is once they get caught for violating it and still trying to uphold their sanctuary cities, criminal proceedings need to be done because they're violating our safety, our national security. Because let's keep it real. These sanctuary cities are harboring these illegal citizens, or not even citizens, illegal immigrants. They're also allowing safe havens for terrorists. I don't know how many watched the report I have done, but there's been 2 cases already from documents that's become unsealed. One here in Ohio, in Columbus, and another one in North Carolina, in Charlotte. 2 people charged with acts of terrorism or trying to support terrorism. Then again, just this week, an active duty Army person charged in Hawaii. I haven't seen that even mentioned on the mainstream news. But at least that one was made public. These other 2, these records were sealed from like 2014. While through investigation, the one in Columbus, he wasn't even, I think he was tried last year and convicted. He was actually convicted on plotting to commit domestic terrorism here in the United States. The one in North Carolina, he was trying to use a buddy pass system to fly an agent that, claimed to be an ISIS supporter, needed to get overseas, forgetting that, but he also was committed to using such things. That also showed a flaw in our national security system at airports once again. There's a lot of stuff that's going on behind the scenes. These rogue states, that's what they become, they're rogue. When they no longer are following the Constitution, are opposing our elected officials, they're basically declaring themselves rogue. And that's causing even more division. I don't understand why they're doing it. I found it quite disrespectful 2 weeks ago when I was watching the sanctuary city vote that a representative of New York wanted to bring up 9/11 and say that's the reason why we need sanctuary cities so it don't happen again. You cut it, basically you cut our funding, these operations that we have, let's keep it. No, that's even, dude, I don't know how you can feed us that BS or try to feed us that BS, but one, that's disrespectful to every American here, any family that lost lives during 9/11. The simple fact is, how you do your sanctuary cities, you're harboring them, you're protecting them. So therefore, you're giving safe havens to these people that want to commit terrorist acts. There was a pipe bombing at a recruiting office, Air Force recruiting office in Oklahoma. At least they finally confirmed it was a pipe bombing. I've researched, went back and looked at this anymore today. I haven't found anything else new. Still under investigation by ATF and FBI. But there was a trend before that happened. Tires were getting slashed, vandalism on other recruiting officers in the same area. But yet we still got 15 states that want to oppose the travel ban. I'm sorry. It's in, most of those 15 states are also all the states that have sanctuary cities. Imagine that. So what can we do? I mean, we can peacefully protest all day long, but the message isn't being heard. So now it starts with the next coming election cycle. It starts with we, the people. Starting to remove some of these people. Ninth Circuit Court. Do not vote those judges back into office. You control the votes. Start using your voice. Start using your opinion. Start going out there and pointing out, showing them how the Supreme Court has overturned, we'll just say 80%. The number varies between 76 to 86% overturn rate by the Supreme Court against the Ninth Circuit. Maybe we need to get rid of the Ninth Circuit because they're not upholding our constitutional laws. And a lot of them are basing their beliefs, political agendas on their rulings. And that is ethically an ethics violation in itself, if it can be proven. So some of you citizen journalists out there, start investigating the Oh, really? I guess I titled this stream right. Give me a second, guys. I want to put some headphones on. I want to hear what somebody's got to say. In fact, I'm going to link you to it in my description so you guys can actually go watch the video yourself. I don't know. For those that follow Dabu7, he just did a video. It begins, Congressman files articles of impeachment against Donald Trump. I'll leave the link in the chat, and I'll put the link in here. Check it out, guys. I'm going to check it out now myself. I'm not going to share screens here because he's been get a bit touchy about that because a lot of people have been using his content and editing it. So I want to show him the respect. Check his video out, guys, real quick. I'll give you guys a few minutes while I'm listening to it, because I will talk about it myself. I actually agree with something he said, and I did videos on it. It wasn't on this channel, but for those that are watching what Dabu is saying about the division and chaos, he is absolutely right. Like, yeah. Hey, you want to join the stream, Chris? Want to talk about this article of impeachment? You know, in fact, guys, I'm going to open the Hangouts up to whoever wants to join in on us, with me, or Chris joins in. You know, the pipe would have been sold me about a year ago when I still had my long hair. Not really. When I had my long hair, you couldn't see all the gray and white in it. That was something I discussed. You know, I had to look at things from two sides. This was back, I did a video on Drew Lima, my other channel, the backup channel to this one. And I played the odds. You know, Trump was the perfect candidate to cause the division because he caused so much division. They pitted him against Hillary, who didn't stand a chance. To me, you know, if you were going to rig an election, it was the perfect catalyst. He was the perfect catalyst because he was the monkey wrench in the whole system. You know, I support Trump. I don't, you know, it's like I even said in the video, now, I don't want to believe this, but I also have to look at all sides. And looking at the way things unfold, you know, the Democrats still got some control, and they're only going to swing a few Republicans. Then, let me put it this way, we don't want Pence to become our president. In fact, we don't want impeachments, because one thing Dabu is very right on, and I've said it before to other people, I think I've said it live on stream, is if this happens, I've heard it on many streams that I watch and follow, it will cause a civil war. You know, funny how I just edited my intros today, and for many, it's the first time you guys got to see my new intro. It's actually my second new intro. I did two today. And I don't know why, but that's been on my mind. You know, I actually went and downloaded the whole speech. Give me liberty or give me death speech. You know, like I said, when I title stuff, you know, I title it where I'm felt drawn. In a rising storm, we have really rogue states right now. We have a country that is so divided. I've been talking about the divisions for more than a year now. I've also been dealing with other communities and trying to work with the divisions in the other communities. But you can't get people to understand. They don't want to see it, don't want to realize it. They think that, you know, it's like nobody can find common ground anymore to talk about anything. And that shouldn't be the case. We need to find common ground. Without finding common ground, we're not going to be able to stop the storm. It's going to make it harder to even ride out with what they're trying to do. Like I said, I haven't seen it pop up on anywhere but from Dabu, but I trust Dabu when it comes to reporting news. Always have. He's always on top of it. He's one of my sources that I use. You know, and he's been getting hammered pretty hard here of late. But so has others. You know, I slip by mainly because I don't monetize my videos. It gives me a little leeway, but I still have to be careful on some subjects, which I'm not even careful. Go for it. They delete it, suspend it, give me a community strike. I have back channels. It don't bother me. I was watching Outlaw Morgan last night on his live stream, and he was right. What he said at the end of his video, you know, there is, you know, and Dabu kind of called people out last night too. But unfortunately, I don't call people out. I don't say things like that because I understand the power behind it. When you start doing that, you know, you might force something to come about that you didn't want to come about. You know, like I said, even in our groups, people that follow us, we have some bad apples. There's some people that are just not mentally right. And they'll listen to every word you say and hang on to it. You know, I realize the dangers when I do these broadcasts. I realize, you know, I'm responsible for my actions and the things I say. Somebody might take something I say and go do something that I had no intentions of them, or didn't even mean for that to be said, come out that way, and they act on it. No. Believe me, you'll know when I want movement and change. It won't be me in front of the video. It'll be me out there with the people that I associate with that hold the same ideas and values. Because the scariest thing that can happen right now is for Trump to be impeached. I mean, it's going to be a long process, but they've started the groundwork. I mean, I'm looking at the previous 8 years. Let me put it to you guys like this. The previous 8 years, there's no such thing as terrorism happening in this country. Well, I've shown you records that say it has. That was sealed, covered up, because it went against the administration. You know that. So, for those that are in the states where these senators start joining in for this, start calling them up. Don't let their phones be quiet. Start filing petitions for ethic violations, because it's we the people for the people. There's a peaceful way to do it. There's a legal way to do it, a right way. If you live in one of the 7 states that allows you to do a recall election on a senator that's not doing his job that you put him in there for, start doing the petition work. Start getting the people together. Start demanding that they be recalled. Right now there's only 7 states that allow that. The rest of us have to go through the process of ethics violations. We can file petitions and file it to Congress to have an investigation done on ethics. Unfortunately, it takes place in Congress, and we know that won't go nowhere. The case studies on it's already shown that it's pretty much a waste of time, but it's the right process. There's steps we have to do to do legal process. We have to abide by the Constitution, what the Constitution sets forth. We have to exercise those rights and exercise those steps and procedures before anything else. I want to make sure I get that perfectly clear now. Hey Chris, I take it you got another rain day? Well, it's kind of obvious looking outside my window, since we don't actually live that far from each other. You know, people don't understand. Wow, I can't believe I title a video The Rising Storm, and a video somebody posts something like that. Like I said, the link's in the description, guys. Go watch it. Or the link's in the chat right now, and I shared it on Twitter. So check it out. More than happy to answer any questions you got on it. I mean, it just goes back to what I've been stating thus far. We need change. And that change has to start with us. We need to put an end to the division and ground, because we don't want a course of action that leads us down a road where we can't get off of. We're already on a bad road. You need to get out of your right-left paradigm states of mind. There's no such thing anymore about Republican and Democrat. Most of them that we've seen that are career politicians are more corrupt on both sides. I'll put the facts all the way out there now. They haven't been about we the people for the people. They've been setting this stuff in motion for a very long time. And it all came to a head last year. They lit the match, set the fuse, and lit the match last year. They've got everyone, families, friends, all pitted against each other. And what they're going to use mainstream media and I'm not going to call mainstream media for what it is, false flags, provocateurs, and stuff, get caught in lies so it trends. You need to be looking out for this. So it trends, so it keeps you guys from paying attention to what's really going on. They've already done it. I've proved it. You use trending tags, you'll get your videos hit. I'm not going to go down that road. I did that as an experiment once, and I've seen the videos got more views than any of my other videos I've done, except for the one on the Supreme Court, which got all its views the day I streamed it. I was the first person on streaming about it, so, but as more people jumped on, the views stopped. So for some of you that want to use those tactics, I don't condone it. It's clickbait in my opinion, but you got to do what you got to do to get the message out. I want to keep this channel as pure as I can keep it, because it has meaning to me. You know, I might do experiments from time to time, but what I do, as I did in that video, I'll state right off the rip, this is an experiment. It's, you know, I did that more for you guys out there on that stream, to show you, hey, there's a way to do it. I have other uses and tools at my disposal to get around things. And so my methods, some of you guys can't do. You rely on the monetization you get from your channels. I don't. I wish I lived in a day and age where I could, but I can't. So, and I'm not going to, because as I've stated, by monetizing my videos, I'm becoming part of the problem, not the solution. I'm buying into a system that supports complete censorship. And I'm not giving up my freedom, speech, my rights, because some corporation says I have to if I want to get paid. You know. You know, just like I'm not going to sit here and bash any other channel unless it comes down to it where it needs to be done. Because right now, my focus is on stopping what division we've got going on within this community and other communities, within our communities that we live in. You know, there's going to be a lot of things that they truly proceed with this and get momentum with it. We're going to need channels like this, like Dabu's, like Be Rich, iCitizen News, whom it may be, Irma Hinojosa. Outlaw Morgan, Be Rich, or I already said Be Rich. Joe Biggs. We don't need channels like Alex Jones. Yep, I just already broke that what I said I was not going to do. Well, you guys know my opinion on that. He's part of the problem. When you start putting pictures up on your videos that showing civil war, saying civil war, you're pushing that and making people want that. There's a danger in doing things like that. That's why I don't try not to use the word. I try to educate you guys on how the proper procedures are by our Constitution. That is a last resort. That we should have learned from history. We do not want to ever repeat. Ever. But we've got people trying to force it. We got people using it as a form of fear porn. And I know a lot of people say, oh, it's not going to like that, what I just said, but it's a fact. Study psychology. Study sociology. Study your history. It is called psychological warfare. Propaganda psyop. You know, yes, I choose my images well when I show them. There's a reason why I show the stars and bars and stars and stripes. So we don't repeat that history. So we also learn from it. There's a reason why I show the eagle and the American flag with the "Don't Tread on Me" on either side, the sons and daughters of liberty, with "We the people," and the Constitution in the background. There's a reason I chose and made that image. We're living in some dangerous times. We're living in times where it is a powder keg out there. We need to get control back of our 15 states that seems to be anti-constitution, whatever they're anti. I don't get what they're up to. Well, I do get what they're up to. They want Trump out of office. That's common sense. They want to keep spending money on, why do I keep saying that? Illegal immigrants, many of which are being shipped in here through the cartels. Many of them are refugees coming into this country that we don't want in this country. I mean, you know, we all can agree on one thing. Trump's done things that probably we all don't agree with, but he's also done thus far some good things that's bringing America back. I see more patriotism now in this country than there has been in previous presidents since 9/11. And 9/11, or people became more patriotic, is because it took a catastrophic event. We do not want another catastrophic event to bring us back together. And to unite us. You know, because let's keep it real. Let's go back to the election. You know, Trump probably might not have won if he went up against Bernie. There's something for you to think about. I mean, you really should think about that. All right, Bernie should have won the Democratic. He should have been the appointed Democratic runner. But to all you guys, I want you guys to Google Venezuela and what's happening there. That's what socialism brings you. Look at Brazil. That's what socialism has brought in. Socialism is not the answer. All socialism has brought. Look at Russia. They were originally socialist, then became communist. Every country that has went down the socialist route becomes 98% of the time becomes a communist country. History has shown. The greatest example in history was the fall of Rome. And much like our structure now, it can be is almost a mirror of what Rome's structure was. The Senate. The Senate got greedy, got corrupt. Then so did the dictator that came up from it, Caesar. It was through the corruption of the Senate, the corruption of a dictator that led to the fall of Rome. But yet they found ways to use the crowd, the mob, the games. They learned how to control the citizens. Yes, we live in a different time of age. Same tactics at play. We can control the crowd, the mob, through social media, through TV, through news. Same things playing out right before your eyes. And you guys, most of you, have missed it. You know, one thing I will never allow somebody to accuse me of, though, is riding somebody's coattails. Because I'm my own man, I have my own mind, I do my things my way. And there's things I don't speak on, and sometimes I do. I try to stick to important issues, issues that affect us, issues that are being used to control us, divide us. You know, like I said, we got 5 states that are on the verge of declaring bankruptcy. They're broke. They can't afford to pay the money they owe. Now, we're hearing so much talk about cryptocurrency of late. That's one way to bring in the currency. You bail the states out with a new form of currency, and you cause a separation from our states from our country. Because our country's not fully backing it. Or our country's so broke right now, it could actually be bought out the same way. Remember these things when you're talking about an interest in cryptocurrency. Because I've said it before and I'll say it again. There's only going to be one form of cryptocurrency. And you think our country is going to allow another form of cryptocurrency to have value? No, no country will. No government will. Let's look what the UN did. Let me paint the picture for you. 120 countries, or 122 countries, 120 something, decided that no country shall have nuclear arms. the rest of the countries who have the nuclear arms was at the G20 and basically boycotted the UN. Now, nobody's really talking about that, where that's going to lead, because we don't know where that's going to lead. I mean, I can make assumptions all day long. I don't like the things I think of where it could lead, because let's not forget, the UN does have an army. And it only takes one nuclear country to back that army. I mean, personally, I would love a world without nukes. But we'll use North Korea for the bad boy example. Tell him to get rid of his nukes. We've been telling him for years. Nope. Tell Russia that. Oh, nope. Tell China that. Nope. I mean, tell us that. As long as we got President Trump in office? Nope. We start talking about cryptocurrencies, nuclear prohibition. We're starting to talk more of one world government, one world order, one world currency. I don't like talking about that, but it is always a possibility. In fact, it's not a probability, it's a possibility, because there's many things that point to that direction. But that's for another topic. But making you aware of a pattern is important. You got to be able to see all sides. You got to be able to think like a grand chess master. 20, 30 moves ahead all the time, which is hard. I can do 10. Sometimes 15 on a good day. But every time you're encountered with a new pattern, you have to solutions and answers and play devil's advocate to see all the probabilities and make actions accordingly. What most, we live in a day and age where there's so much chaos and confusion, it's almost impossible to come up with scenarios for that. Because every time we start working on it, something else comes up. I mean, it's a grand game with illusion. It's a grand shell game. That's what it is. The last thing we need in this country right now is an impeachment process. We're too divided for that. That will put this country on the brink of anarchy and chaos. It'll take that rising storm and turn it into a raging storm. It will literally be worse than what history has already shown us. Look at the advancements we've made. Look at the things that we are capable and can do now. We do not ever want to repeat that part of history. Ever. Because now it would be catastrophic. And that message is to everyone. Because we can't afford to go down that road. We can't even afford to allow it to happen. It is time that you guys wake up. Restudy your Constitution, restudy some of your history. To all the patriots, sheepdogs, vets, protesters, because you are patriots. You're honoring the Constitution when you go out there standing up for what you believe in and peacefully protesting for what you believe in. You know, we want to make America great. Again, America's still great. We just need to remove our corruption from our states and government. Stop electing them. Stop putting them in the office. Find people within your community who represent and honor the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, that believe in it. Start raising funds for them and put them into office. But here's the scariest part of this scenario. If they manage to pull this off, the election cycle, we have lost. Because then they will have full control, full agendas that they've been trying to shove down our throats for all these years. We'll have nobody in position to stop them. I know there's a bunch of rallies and protests coming up this month and next month. Maybe it's time we switch focus. Maybe it's time we rally around Congress and protest there. Peacefully. Demand that justice be done against these sanctuary cities. Demand that any thoughts and ideas of impeachment be ended. And start demanding that, hey, you want to keep jacking off our money and stuff? And jacking off, not doing your jobs? Well, we want all of Congress investigated. That's right, every last one of you. The shoe works. Both shoe fits both ways, guys. You want to do these? They're worse than witch hunts, actually. Maybe it's time they be put on the receiving end, because I know many of them are dirty as hell and corrupt as hell. They would find something if the committee investigated them. You're put in office to do a job. Represent we the people. To get our jobs back here in this country. Get us a better health care system. We got vets out there that are homeless, struggling to get by, that you corrupt government decide to label them as terrorists. With the Patriot Act and the NDAA. Oh, my word, my bad, not terrorist, domestic terrorist. I guess there is a little difference there. Same thing. You know, it makes me sick. That's what makes me so sick about sanctuary cities, that we have homeless vets in the streets that can't even get help or care. But you give that help and care to an illegal citizen, shame on you. Your state is a disrespect to this country, this nation, and everything our forefathers stood for and everything America stands for. And you guys should be charged with criminal actions. For violating our most sacred laws, our Constitution and our Bill of Rights. Because, like I said, the next trend we'll probably be seeing is some of these sanctuary cities going belly up and claiming and blaming the Trump administration and blaming the Republicans for taking the funding away from the sanctuary cities. No. The blame only goes one way, guys. It goes to those cities, to those politicians in those cities, those mayors or governors, officials in those states for going against the Constitution and breaking the law. No one else controls them. They make choices. There's actions to those choices. They're not going to be able to blame their fall because they chose to continue down an illegal, continue to do illegal actions that violate our Constitution. They made a choice. They could have easily said, okay, well, we'll follow the laws that you've passed, the bill that you passed, and they would keep their funding. It's not hard. It's actually a simple choice. It's a common sense choice, but they refuse to make it. You know, the bottom line is, like I said, I knew eventually it'd come. You don't keep threatening impeachment. And the fact is, what are you going to impeach him on? He has not committed an act that violates our Constitution yet. And for everybody that don't understand the process, Bill Clinton was impeached only from the House, not from the Senate. You have to go through both. Well, he happened to, and actually, I don't even think it happened to Nixon. I think he resigned before the Senate voted. I might be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Fair warning, guys, for those that haven't ever researched Pence. Research what he did in Indiana before you think impeachment's a good idea. There's a reason why you choose your VPs accordingly. Usually you choose your VP because you know your VP is somebody that nobody wants in office. And some VPs will choose, it's been stated, study your history. There was one certain VP that agreed to be VP. By the way, it was Lyndon B. Johnson, LBJ. He agreed to be VP because he actually calculated it. And he gambled on the percentage of a president dying while in office. He was a gambler. He even admitted it. Why not? The chances was in his favor. No. All I know, after seeing that, watching that video by Dabu and hearing that report, that was something I was hoping we never heard. especially after what I was hearing last night on the Outlaw Morgan show, on his live stream with some of his call-ins, how he finished his show. Yes, because the reality of it is, he was right what he said at the end. I'm not going to repeat it. Because, guys, I'm going to end this. I want you guys to think about some things. Think about how divided we are. I want you to think about the division. I want you to think about some of the things that's been reported from this channel and other channels that you guys follow and watch. Field documents, court cases that are coming up that has been unsealed. We cannot afford to be divided any longer. We can't afford this up-and-coming new storm. We already have a storm that's rising. And if they push this impeachment thing any farther, it'll become a raging storm that it will bring America to its knees. And I don't like being doom and gloom, but it's time you guys wake up. Know your rights, know your liberties, know what the Constitution it stands for, read it, know it, follow the due process. There's ways to make change peacefully. We need to do peaceful resolutions right now. The last thing we need is to be divided any farther. We've got some serious issues in every state that needs addressed. Because if we open this door, and trust me, you guys don't even want to imagine what will happen. If this door gets open, this will be Pandora's box. The best way to describe it, look what's happening in almost every country overseas. Look what's happening in Venezuela. Look what happened with protests in Germany. And that happens here, you can magnify it almost tenfold. Because Things I've talked about with sleeper cells in this country, you'll start seeing them. You're already seeing them, but most people aren't awake to that yet. That's the drawback of not having too many followers on this channel. Yeah, it's all about, in the end, it is about us. We the people, for the people. Don't get caught up in the illusions. Don't become victims. Be Americans. Remember what this country stands for, what it still stands for, not stood. It still stands for those values, those liberties, those rights. We can ride this storm out. We can still make change. And it starts with sewing up the division that they've caused. Finding common ground. It needs to be done. It needs to be done soon before we do pass the point of no return. Because when we enter that raging storm, there will be no I in the center for a very long time to come. And you guys are not ready for that. None of us are. I don't care how much you say you are. Reality is reality. I hope you guys enjoyed. I didn't mean for this to turn into I never had any intentions for it to go the way it went. Honestly, I didn't see that one coming. I mean, I kind of seen it coming, but not for a little while off. I mean, they keep threatening, and eventually we knew it was going to happen, or the process would be started. I figured it was a couple more months down the road, so. Yeah, sometimes we hit on some things and we didn't even know about it. Because definitely the title of this video was not meant for that. I didn't even know about it, as you guys seen. First time I heard it was from him. It's from Dabu. Like I said, you guys didn't watch the video. The link will be in my description. I've already shared it on Twitter. Yeah. Not what I wanted to hear today. But like I said, sometimes things happen for a reason. Sometimes we title things for a reason. There's always a message. And yeah, that message was heard loud and clear. Really? But I'm going to get off here for a bit. Because I want to do some research on this. Look for another live stream maybe later after I do some research, find out what's fully going on. I mean, his video pretty much summed it all up. Don't need to know much more. But look for me to come back on later, and I might have a few special guests. I know they're going to be wanting to say a few things. With that, you guys have a safe week. be safe, and start working on mending wounds, mending this division before it's too late.
There is no retreat but in submission and slavery. Our chains are forged. Their clanking may be heard on the plains of Boston. The war is inevitable, and let it come. I repeat it, sir, let it come. To extenuate the matter, gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war is actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? What would they have? Is life so dear, or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty, or give me death.